For example, we have some people who have joined the different terrorist groups that are now in our country that are being a big problem for us. For example, some joined the NPA. This NPA has been with us for 50 years. Imagine 50 years of fighting, going nowhere. Thousands have been killed. Economic development have been hampered. Imagine if there is no fighting, if there is no threat, internal threat within our country. Imagine the development that we would have had, or perhaps we would be among the top richest country here in Asia, because we would surely have development. We don't have development because we don't have peace.
Welcome, everyone. We're back. This is actually our season opener, season number 2, episode 1 of Pinoy Martial Arts Mastermind. And as usual, we are joined, well, medyo kulang. We're lacking some members today. But we have Dr. Sixto Carlos, President of Calis Ilustrísimo Repetición Original, founder of Carlos Hermanos Fight Club, founder and head of Libre Fighting Philippines, and founder of Urban Combatives Philippines, and myself, Dax Cordero,
Dentist of the Stars,
international superstar and matinee idol. Tonight, we have a very special guest. He is the former commanding general of the Philippine Army. He is retired Lieutenant General Macky Alberto. Hello, sir. Say hello to the people out there.
Hello, General. Everyone.
Si General Alberto has been friends with Dr. Sixto for how many years now, Dr. Sixto?
I think 20 years, General. I think we met 2001.
We were still young when we were friends.
You're still young now. What was General Alberto's rank when you met?
Major. Yes, I remember Major.
So yeah, General, we just have a few questions for you, no? And it pertains mostly about your experience in the military, as well as, you know, as being a martial arts channel. It will also involve martial arts in the military and your views on that, no? Pero first off, we'd like to ask you, what made you join the military?
When someone asks me this question, I always respond with service to country, or doing a patriotic duty, to be of service to our people. That is what I usually say. Pero I really wanted to join the military because I want to be part of something bigger than me, something to be one of the good guys, to do something good, especially for our country. So that motivated me to join the military.
Oh, that's so noble of you, General. Huh?
Formal si General. It's very formal tonight. Six, you have a question?
Yes, General. So the track that you went, the career track that you went through in the military is, I think you joined the military academy, no? The Philippine Military Academy, which is Fort del Pilar.
Yes.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 1986.
1986, General.
Senator Bato de la Rosa.
Oh yes, Dr.
And the current Chief of Staff now, General Gapay, the Chief PNP, General Cascolan, and General Gamboa, and General Albayalde. So that is the class of 1986. And several other government officials now, like Yusek Pahe and
Yes.
Yusek Jongan and others who are still serving the government. The commanding general of the Philippine Air Force, General Brigues, is also a member of our class, and the flag officer in command of the Philippine Navy, Vice Admiral Impedran. So that is the class of 1986.
Well, there's a lot of famous people from your class,
Very
General.
star-studded.
Star-studded. And my favorite of your classmates is Yusek Pahe. He's one tough guy. I think if I remember it right, he was featured in the Ranger Manual, General. I remember that. He's a very, very tough guy. Anyway, General, after graduating from the PMA, from the Philippine Military Academy, you went on to the Rangers directly. What made you choose the Rangers?
I joined a infantry unit. And then I got assigned to an artillery unit, and that made me choose to take up the Scout Ranger course, because in the artillery unit during that time, we were supposed to fire the artillery 105 howitzer, but we were not able to do so because of other considerations like human rights and the considerable impact that the artillery could be having on a specific target. So we were doing nothing when I was assigned there. So I only stayed there for 3 months, and then when the opportunity to take the Scout Ranger course opened up, I immediately took it. So I had a 10 months course or 11-month course, one of the longest class in the Scout Ranger course. So
Wow.
It's started in 1987 and finished in March 1988. So April to March.
My
April
next
87.
my next follow-up question to that, General, is what makes the Scout Ranger unit unique compared to the other military units in the Philippines?
Well, first of all, it's the individual soldier. So it's a well-trained soldier. Imagine the training usually lasts from the minimum 6 months. And then you go on, after the training, you go on actual test mission.
Okay.
And then you develop this leadership, you develop the spirit, you develop the skills, and you develop the stamina before you graduate. And then you have this kind of mentality that you can do everything, even no matter how difficult the task or how difficult the mission is. So all of this is being ingrained into you while you are undergoing the training. So when you graduate, so you're proud, and you know that you're no longer just an ordinary soldier. You have a big responsibility because you are wearing the Scout Ranger patch or you're wearing the Scout Ranger tab.
General, if any, are there other military units that you joined that you feel had an impact on your military career?
Well, I joined as I said, my first unit was infantry. Then I went for a short period with the artillery unit. And then we took up the Scout Ranger course. Almost all of the units have different impact on my career, especially because you're being placed in different positions of responsibilities. So as your rank goes up, they give you different responsibilities. So the higher the rank, the bigger the responsibilities. So if you have to do well in each position or in each rank, otherwise you won't get promoted to the next one.
Anyway, General, so I remember when I met you, you were very active. I think from major to colonel. So until which level would you which level, until which rank did you start delegating more of the activities when you became more of a planner rather than the actual soldier doing it, general?
Well, of course, as you go higher up in rank, you won't be able to supervise everything. So you have to delegate. So if you're a platoon leader, you command at least 30 men. And if you're a company commander, which is usually the rank of a captain, you have more than 100 men. And then you go higher up, you become a major or lieutenant colonel. Then you command a battalion and you have around 500 to 600 men. And then you go another rank and you're commanding a brigade and you have more men. So you have around 3 to 4 battalions. You are commanding 3 to 4 battalions.
Wow.
And then in the army, I commanded 8 divisions. So 8 divisions is more or less 10,000 men. So when I was the commanding general, we had 11 divisions, infantry divisions, and then you have the armored division, other combat units. So I had around more than 90,000 to 100,000 men under my.
Wow.
So definitely you cannot supervise them down to the lowest levels. So you have to delegate. You have responsible commanders under you.
General, no? And a lot of people are curious, no? Especially those who want to get into the military. What do you think, based on your experience, what are the attributes needed to be a successful soldier?
First of all, you have to be I think you have to volunteer. You have that mindset that you want to do this. You have to be committed. So especially in order to have that discipline, you have to be committed. The training is hard, of course. There are a lot of you think unnecessary things that you're doing, but later on you will find out it instills in you a lot of discipline, stamina, and other things. For example, they make you march around under the heat of the sun. So when I was in high school, I didn't want to do that. Didn't want to march under the heat of the sun, go on parade. But these things, they bring you discipline, mental discipline. They bring you awareness, alertness. So it instills a lot of discipline, and you have to be committed. So in order for you to become a successful soldier, you have to be committed. You have to be disciplined. Of course, physical fitness is an important part. And then it will require you to be courageous. Especially you will be required to undergo different tasks, different, sometimes dangerous mission. Especially when I was still with the Scout Rangers, those were really difficult missions and dangerous missions. So you also have to be smart. You have to have the wisdom to make the right decision sometimes. Not sometimes, all of the time.
All the time.
And then you have to show and display leadership at all levels. So if you're still a young officer, you're commanding only a platoon, so you have to influence your men in the right way. So you have to provide the leadership. And of course, you also have to have the integrity. Because if you don't have the integrity, I don't think you can make your men follow you.
Yeah, yes, General. One thing I noticed when we would meet, I've met you I accompanied you in a lot of different camps, Ranger Camp, Department of National Defense. special forces, I remember the way you handled your soldiers, the people below you. The way you handle them, it's leadership talaga general. It's if for me, that's a very difficult skill to learn. My question is, you ended your career as a commanding general. From the beginning, was that your goal, your ultimate goal, to be the commanding general of the army, or did it just happen? Did it just develop?
No, no. Actually, my goal was just do my job. Whatever job that I'm being given, whatever task I'm being given, to meet the standards required and the time required to do that job. So those were just my focus, and just do my job well. And then just so happened that I was selected to become the commanding general. So it's a bonus. Actually, my main ambition when I was a colonel was to reach the next rank, which is a brigadier general. After that, everything was a bonus. So it was 1 star lang. That was my goal when I was a colonel already. But when you're lieutenant, your goal is just to survive. You're out in the field, you're out in combat. So your goal is to do the mission, take care of your men, and survive. So I was just lucky enough to be selected as commanding general of the Philippine Army.
Okay, General. Anyway, my next question is, what is the most important thing or things that you learned during your life with the military?
Perhaps what I mentioned was discipline. You need discipline in everything. You also need to do some sacrifices. We have the patience to undergo some sacrifices. For example, training. If you want to achieve something, you have to put yourselves in difficult training, realistic training, so that you can achieve what you want.
So, General, what made you interested in martial arts?
Well, of course, being a soldier, you really need, because you need to fight. So those are the basics of being a soldier. You need to be a fighter. You need to be a warrior. You have to be a warrior in order to do your job and survive. So that's why I started training when I started formally training in martial arts when I was a cadet. But before that, when I was still young, during the time Bruce Lee the piece of Bruce Lee was showing, Meng Fei and other martial artists during that time. So 70s yun, 70s. So you were when I was still a small child during that time. Mas matanda sa akin. 6'2" is older. No, just joking. So he was famous during that time. So it got me interested in martial arts. But then when I was a cadet, that's when I started my formal training in martial arts. So I started with judo. That's the first formal training I had was judo. Then I went to wrestling. Then went to boxing. And then when I was a second year cadet, I joined the karate do. And then later on, when we were about to graduate, taekwondo became famous. We were the PMA was fighting with other colleges and universities in Manila. So that's my transition to martial arts. Actually, in PMA, Senator De La Rosa and me form a martial arts club. We call it a martial arts club. But actually, it was a mixed martial arts during that time. We were introducing it to the academy because we would incorporate what we learned from judo, from boxing, from karate, taekwondo, and put it into one martial arts. But during that time, jiu-jitsu was not that famous when we was an unknown actually when we were cadets. So perhaps if jiu-jitsu was there, then we would have incorporated it. And then we also did fencing.
Yes.
Fencing. And then, of course, the usual pistol, bayonet training, rifle training. But unfortunately, we didn't have Filipino martial arts in PMA during that time. So perhaps that was one missing part of our training when we were cadets. We didn't have Filipino martial arts. That's why I was very fortunate to have met Dr. Sixto, Dr. Arvin when I was a major. So it gave me a chance to learn. Because what you can see from Filipino martial arts during that time was what you can see in the movies. The movie of Lito Lapid, Kamagong. And then there was a movie also about movie by Roland Dantes during that time. It's also about Filipino martial arts. So, about Arnis. That's the only exposure that I had. Of course, you can see in the TVs, there are some demonstration, but I don't know if it will work in a real combat situation. That's why we were glad and we were lucky to have met Dr. Sixto Carlos and learn the Carlos Lustrisimo and Carlos Hermanos system.
General, because majority of your training is in weapons, no? But do you think that it is necessary for the military to embrace martial arts? And do you
Yes.
think that it will benefit our soldiers?
Yes, of course. Not all of the time the soldiers have weapon. For example, even if you go out, you are on leave. Sometimes you don't carry you don't carry a small weapon, a pistol, or you have nothing. And when time comes and you have to protect yourself or protect your family, then you should be able to do something and react in order to protect your life and protect your friends or protect your family. And one thing that I learned also from combatives or martial arts is it develops in you the instinct, the attitude. You know, no matter how difficult or how big is your opponent, you still want to fight and you still want to defeat him. So you can only get that from sports or from martial arts. When you go to the Philippine Military Academy, there is a what we call the Jurado Hall. It's a gym, big gym. And then there's a writing on the wall, and it says it quotes General MacArthur, Douglas MacArthur's words. It says that upon the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds, that upon the field on other days will bear the fruit of victory. It means sports is preparing you to do something other than sports, like going to war. So sports was a big foundation for us when we were cadets to prepare us to do our mission. So, sports is a controlled environment, but you develop the instinct, you develop the right attitude to go and win. So martial arts is very important for soldiers.
So, General, what do you think are the martial arts which soldiers should learn?
Yeah, I'd like to mention that when I was still studying I was taking up the General Command Staff course of the Philippine Army, and we were supposed to write a paper. We call it Commandant's Paper. So, since before I went to schooling, I was the commandant of the Scout Ranger School. So I was thinking, what paper should I write? So the topic that I wrote was about martial arts training or combatives training for the Scout Ranger students. So what I selected was that based on my study, we 50% striking skills that the soldiers should develop. And then you should also learn how to handle weapons like rifle or pistol, or maybe knives and sticks, to use it to strike your opponent in case, for example, you don't have any more ammunition for your rifle or for your pistol. You need to make it still a weapon. You have to use this rifle and pistol as a weapon. And then you also know how to use a knife. You should know also to use a stick or clubs in case you don't have a knife or other weapons. And then you should know some grappling, throwing, and other techniques. So those are the results of my study, and that's why when I was in school, I tried to implement. I started this thing on this Filipino martial arts that Dr. Sixto introduced. However, when I left, they introduced another system, which Dr. Sixto knows it, and I was laughing at it. So
No comment.
I didn't mention it.
No, general, so yun, yeah, it's your belief that yeah, soldiers, it's very important for soldiers to learn martial arts, no? But in your opinion, do you think that even civilians should learn martial arts?
Of course, everyone should learn. No? Of course, sometimes there are situations you have to defend yourselves, you have to defend your family, but also our civilians should be part of our reserve forces. So every civilian should be trained in martial arts, and
Yes, yes.
when the time comes when we are being attacked by other countries or our invaders, then we should be able to defend our country. So part of it is martial arts.
Okay, General. So we've talked about your military career, your interests in martial arts. Now that you've retired from the military, I'd like to ask you: are there any recommendations that you want to give to the Filipino youth?
Of course, I'm a father of four. I have 2 sons and 2 daughters. So, my 2 sons, my eldest son, a lieutenant in the army and taking up the Scout Ranger course. And then my other son is the academy, Filipino Military Academy. So I have 2 daughters who are still with us. So, of course, I'm concerned about them. So, my advice for my children, what I usually give is for them to study well. No? Focus on their study. Be useful. Be useful to your country. Be useful to your countrymen. Be helpful to your parents. Love your parents, because your parents loves their children very much. So respect the parents. So believe in God. You should have faith in God. There is a God. I know it. and follow authority. Be a good citizen. You know, I like to quote Romans 13, submission to authority. Sometimes we get into trouble, our youth gets into trouble because they don't follow the authority. They have no respect for authority. So if you respect your parents, you start it from home. Respect your parents, and then respect your teacher, respect your authority. Because everything happens for a reason. If we have this kind of attitude, this kind of respect for other people, we should not be selfish. We should be selfless. We should be able to serve other people. So that is the mentality that our youth should have. But we should be reminded that also to be discerning in how we can serve our people, because some of our youth sometimes they are idealistic. They want to do something good or they want to serve our people, but there are some who misleads them or leads them astray. For example, we have some people who have joined the different terrorist groups that are now in our country that are being a big problem for us. For example, some joined the NPA. This NPA has been with us for 50 years. Imagine 50 years of fighting, going nowhere. Thousands have been killed. Economic development have been hampered. Imagine if there is no fighting, if there is no threat, internal threat within our country. Imagine the development that we would have had, or perhaps we would be among the top richest country here in Asia, because we would surely have development. We don't have development because we don't have peace. So, and these threat groups are being keep on continue fighting because some youth, some students join them. So imagine for 50 years they are still fighting, but they're going nowhere. They have been this organization. They have this legal front organization, who have been deceiving our youth or have been deceiving our students to join these armed groups. So if we don't have them, that's why I would encourage everyone to join the ROTC or be a reservist. Because if you look at other countries like Singapore, everyone is mandated to serve in the armed forces for 1 or 2 years. South Korea is the same thing. So you have like K-pop actors that you can see for a while and then they're gone because they went on to serve the army or join the army for 2 or 3 years. The same with Israel. So you could look at this country. Israel is a small country, yet a majority of it are part of the reservist force. And all of them, this reservist force, have joined the army, and you can see the bond, the solidarity of their country. The politicians, they could go have different opinions and discussions, but we could be united if we have this. We could have this system wherein everyone is a reservist. All able-bodied citizens are reservists, and so perhaps we will be united. Even if there's an administration, there's a position, it's okay. It's part of democracy. But when it comes to defending our country, when it comes to securing our land, then we should be all united. And that's why it's very, very important for our youth to go on training like the ROTC or be a reservist.
Very wise words, General. I remember Miss Wonder Woman was Army reservist.
Yeah, Gal Gadot.
But General, you're very updated with the K-pop, huh? Huli kayo.
I told you I'm still young.
Well, you look young, sir.
So anyway, General, my next question, what do you think is the future of martial arts in the military, or what do you think should the martial arts be in the military?
Well, right now, there are a lot of systems that are being introduced in the military. But most of these are foreign. And there's also the local one. The local one, you already know it, and which, of course, I disagree with that way of training that they are doing. So I think it's dangerous for them to train with that, and when you go to an actual fight, you would be wondering if it will work or not. So, but however, there are some who are introducing different martial arts, which is being used by other countries' armed forces. So, I would encourage the military to look also in the systems that we have here in the Philippines. For example, the Carlos Hermanos system. It's a very good system, and the one that you also introduced, the Libre and the Urban Combatives, those are good systems that we should be introduced to the military. So maybe because of COVID, we could not do it. Soldiers want to do it in the actual, the same way we used to do when we were still, when I was still with the Scout Rangers. We do actual sparring, and S02 introduced that to those actual sparring live. And I practiced it when I was even in the field. In a combat situation, I still practice it. So I would encourage Doc Sisto. Maybe when the COVID is gone or we have the vaccine and we could be meeting with the actual training. So maybe you should introduce your system to the military.
Sure, General. Let's do that. Let's after everything is when it's safe. Sure, I'm more than willing to volunteer time again.
Because now most of our soldiers now are deployed. They are frontliners, so now they don't have time, and because of the threat of this virus, we could not do it on a personal or in actual training. So maybe after this, I would encourage you. By the way, I will be leaving perhaps by November or December. So I think virus will still be here by that time. But we will still be meeting.
Yes, for sure.
And I would encourage you to help our military know what martial arts they should be really learning. I think you should replace. Unfortunately, we didn't have time when I was still the commanding general of the army. We were not able to meet. So maybe if we had the chance, then we could have replaced what they had.
No, for people out there who don't know the general personally, my personal experience with him was the first time I met him was S02 in the first Libre seminar that we had with Jinro.
2015.
2015, and si General when Jinro, our instructor, opened the floor for sparring, I think General was like the first one to volunteer, and it was like when I was watching him, it's like, General, your fists are like maybe half the size of my face, and I could remember when you were, I think he was He was I can't even remember who he was sparring against.
Arvin. It was with
Arvin.
Arvin Sessa. Yes.
Who is another monster, by the way. And it
Yeah,
was
it's a month.
like it was like these two Goliaths going at it, and it's like it was. I'll try to look for that footage. It's just incredible.
No, it's on
incredible.
YouTube. It's on
It's on
YouTube. It's on YouTube. Yes.
So yeah, the general knows his stuff, and he walks the walk. So anyway, General, yeah.
I enjoy it.
No, General, thank you so much. This was a very very fun and enlightening episode. So, do you have any parting words for the people out there?
Actually, I don't want to give parting words. I will still be around. I hope to see you again. I hope we can talk again. And then maybe when everything is safe, we could meet. Or even if I'm in my post, I will be going to Israel by 2 months from now. So hopefully I will be able to introduce you with some of our army personnel, and then you can bring your system, our system to the army, and then I'm sure they will learn a lot from you. So I encourage you to do what you're doing now. You're all doing great. I'm looking at your videos whenever I have time. I can learn from your videos. I can learn from the training that you're doing, and I hope you could also share it with our army. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General. Yeah.
Thank you for the belief in us, General. Thank you so much.
And hopefully we can invite you again, and maybe we can talk about this new stint of yours. No, maybe after a few months, you can tell us more about it.
Yeah, we'll visit you. We'll visit you there.
Okay, see you.
Thank you, General.
Okay.
So that was General Macky, Alberto. I'm still reflecting on the things that he was saying. That was quite enjoyable for me to actually pick the brain of such a man. No?
Yes, I've learned so much from this interview, so much about leadership, management, and remember what he said? If you want to accomplish something, you have to work hard for it. I've mentioned earlier, I first met him about almost 20 years ago, and I've in several instances, I've met him in several different places. Wherever I go, he's well respected. Some military guys I've met, then I ask, hey, do you know, during that time he was a colonel, do you know Colonel Macky Alberto? And when he was a general, do you know General Alberto? All of them have something nice to say about him. I think he's what you would call a soldier's soldier.
A soldier's soldier, yes.
And
I would agree.
And I remember he does leadership by example. And I found out through Arvin Sessa that they had to stop him from leading from the front because his rank was already very high, but he still insisted to be in front. So I have very high respects for him. And he's a very intelligent guy. He's a very intelligent man.
Oh, you could tell. You could tell by the way he was answering the questions. Yeah.
Although he would pretend that you're smarter. So anyway, now he has a new designation, a new job. Again, I pray that he does well there. And I'm sure he will. And I hope that we see him again in the future.
Yeah. And hopefully we can have him come back and maybe we can talk about this new, as we said, the new chapter of his career, which I think will be very interesting.
Yeah, and the book that he's planning, and he just asked us in the off camera that he's asking us to write it with him. So,
Our next project, yeah. Why not?
should we accept it, Dax?
I think it's a no-brainer.
Okay. So
Anyway,
that's-
yeah. Thank you, everyone. As we said, this is our opener for the second season. Thank you for waiting. Those out there, thank you for waiting for us to come back. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. We were very fortunate to be able to convince Sixto's friend General Macky Alberto to join us. No? So anyway, Sixto, any parting words?
Again, this was one of my favorite interviews from a leader.
A true leader.
And I learned so much from this. Anyway, guys, I guess that's it.
All right.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Thank you. Season 2 out.